Not quite when Andrew came in. We must have all been talking about him.
Well, you had a good subject.
Do you want to vote?
It's 1 o'clock, so I'll call the Facilities Committee meeting for Wednesday, July 15th, 2026 to order. Let me lead us in a moment of prayer, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day and thankful for the country we live in and the fact that it survived 250 years. We pray, Father, for our leaders, both the national leaders, state leaders, and local leaders. Help them to make the right decisions. Thank you for the opportunity we have of serving the people in Glynn County and help us be good stewards of the money and help be with all of our staff members and their families and just protect them, Father. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. There's no public comment, is there? I would like to make an agenda change. I would like to move the discussion item 1, Kim and Creed smoke testing presentation, to be above the approved section of the meeting. Can I have a motion? All in favor? Motion carries 3-0. It's all up. Introduce yourselves too as you come up. By the way, they made the same presentation.
Not the same one, a similar one.
A similar one yesterday. So Brunswick-Glynn County was in the limelight.
Well, good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. Very thankful to be here and do the final step of this very successful project. Just give a quick introduction. I know we've made our rounds, but Yogesh Panta with McKim & Creed. I'm the regional manager of our Georgia water operations.
And I am Derek Holderman with McKim & Creed. I'm the Wet Weather Program Director.
Yep, and for this project, I served as the project manager on our side, with Derek being the kind of technical lead for us. And of course, as you all know, Jason was the PM on your side. So what we will do this morning, like I said, is just final touches of a very successful project. We'll do a quick safety moment. We'll do a project recap of the numbers we found, looking at what systems we tested, what we found, and then we'll look at our journey from last October when we started to when we submitted everything June 26th of last month for the project to be closed. We'll share some pictures and findings of what we found in the field through our smoke and dye testing project. We will of course talk about what went well, some challenges and lessons learned from this project. I'm not joking when I said that section was the hardest one to do just because the project for the most part was very smooth sailing. And then we have a few recommendations we would like to make moving forward. And then we'll briefly talk about the final report we submitted last week, not going into too much details, and then just look at some next steps and closeouts as well. But before I get started, a quick safety moment, especially with the heat going on. I'm sure you all have heard there's been heat waves around the world, not just here in the U.S. and in Atlanta there was one not long ago as well. So the first one, sunscreen, sunburn and UV, wear at least sunscreen of SPF 30. And as I've been told by my family members, no, this isn't only when you're outside. Apparently heat waves get inside as well. So even when you're indoors during the afternoon, it's recommended that you wear sunscreen. Heat and hydration, especially when you're outside. Take water breaks regularly. Take breaks, especially when you're out in the field. Stay in shady areas and watch for dizziness. Burns and hot surfaces, again with the extreme heat out there, be careful when you're opening something, touching anything, especially hot surfaces, anything metal. Wear gloves and PPE. The last two, cuts and outdoor injuries. Watch footings near manholes. Make sure you don't trip and cut yourself and get hurt. And then the last one, food poisoning, especially in the heat. If you leave your food out, with the heat, it can get contaminated and you don't want to get sick that way. So we'll get into the project now. So we looked at we did smoke and dye testing in 3 major areas of JWSC system. As you can see from the map, the North Mainland and City of Brunswick is the kind of larger piece. We also did testing in the South Mainland area, and we also looked at St. Simons Island. So in the North Mainland and COB area, there were a total of 23 basins that we tested. In the South Mainland area, 3 total basins, and then on the St. Simons Island on the east side, a total of 19 basins, and that adds up to 43 basins. We spoke about this yesterday at GWP2. Throughout this area, there's about 1.65 million linear feet of square foot of sewer pipe, and we tested about 1.1, so almost 65%. So that's a big chunk. Even for us, this is one of the larger projects we've done, and it just worked out really well for all of us. So why do this project? What's the purpose? What do we want to get out of smoke and dye testing and testing your sewer infrastructure? The first one is any excess rainwater or groundwater that enters into your sewer system is extra cost that you'll have to, you don't get back. The clean water entering the system takes up capacity, and it takes away from the sewer system's capacity, so there'll be increased cost on y'all, as well as the treatment cost for that is something that you won't get back because you won't be able to charge to customers. Higher operating costs as well. Utilities like y'all have to transport and treat water that never should be there ideally, so that there's an operational cost of that every year on the budget. Overflow risk, we size our sewer based on certain calculations, certain design flows and assumptions. When excess flows enter that, it's something that you typically don't account for as well. So you can increase the chances of overflow. So what's the fix? Want to make sure that I say, smoke testing and dye testing does not solve all of your issues, but it does help you identify larger chunks, because you can see visually through smoke and dye testing what areas you may need to work on. So it's not an end-all be-all solution, but it's a very good first step. So I'll talk about the numbers. As I said, very impressive, 1.1 or approximately 1.1 million linear feet of sewer pipe tested across the 3 basins. We fielded total of 65 call logs. We had a website that we made available to the public. They could reach out to any of us if they had any questions, and wanted to give a shout out to Derek as well. He fielded most of the questions. We made sure when someone called, when one of y'all's residents called us, it didn't go to an answering machine or it didn't go to a voicemail. We had a live person available at the whole time. We also logged their concerns, also made notes of when those calls happened, and our recommended solutions to that as well. On the public side, we found approximately 948 defects. On the private side, about 174 defects. And we found 6 critical defects. The word critical sounds, scary, but those were just things we flagged to Jason and the team to get resolved quickly, because that can affect your system. So some of the examples of the critical defects we identified were big pieces like missing manhole covers, collapsed structures, items like that. Again, it sounds worse than it is, but it gives the imperative nature for y'all to go out there and fix it. So after the initial round of dye testing, we also recommended a total of 51 dye recommendations, and that includes both dye tracing, so smaller segments of pipe, and also dye floods over a larger region as well. We replaced and removed 38 clean-out covers. We had a question yesterday that some people were impressed that number was pretty low, and that's because y'all had already done this a few years ago, so the items we found then were already fixed, because certain municipalities said they were very surprised at how low that number was. So kudos to the operations team. So the project journey. So we officially kicked off in October. We were out in the field already beginning of November 2025. That month we tested about 150,000 linear feet or so of smoke testing, and by the time we were in December, things were in full swing. And at the beginning of this year, we completed smoke testing, including the SSI airport, and all the dye testings were completed in February. So because the project was ahead of schedule and under budget, we discussed with the JWSC team, because we had some budget left, to ask them what other areas did y'all want us to look at. So we had a small amendment. Again, we didn't change the contract amount or anything, kept the same amount, but added about 100,000 extra linear feet of testing across different basins, and also added more dye testing as well. So we began that in March, and we were out in the field in March and April, but unfortunately, as I'm sure y'all know, on April 22nd, a large fire, the Brantley fire, happened. Our crews were not able to go out in the field for 3 weeks, but we worked diligently with the team here to, not overwhelm the fire department because they were inundated with calls. So we decided to take a break. But after, thankfully, things became better over time. We came back and finished everything still under schedule and under budget. So very happy with the way the JWSC team supported us there with the crews, with Jason and everyone else. So that was a really successful thing for us. And I wanted to highlight again the yellow part. Even with the fires and additional testing, we were still able to deliver to y'all everything under budget and within schedule. So let's see what we actually found in the field. I'll go over this high level. So I talked about the 6 public safety concerns. That's just the same 6 critical defects that I had identified earlier. We found active I&I in several manholes. We marked them up. We let the team know that that was there. We also found lots of missing frames and covers. That was the largest defect type we found throughout the system. And then that led to a total of, again, about 1,123 smoke defects. So here's some pictures. I know that it always helps visualize things. I like having pictures on the slides. So some of the larger defects we found, the first one, if you look at your slides, is an exposed pipe. Main lines or laterals just not fully buried, exposed to damage. We've had situations where, people can trip over them, or, even certain cases where a small vehicle or something can run them over. So we highlighted items like that we saw. The second picture you see in the middle is frame and cover leak, smoke escaping between the manhole frame and cover. And these ones are ones that you can also quickly identify as well, so it's easy to spot. And the third one is kind of damaged manhole structure, smoke from the chimney of the manhole cone or wall points that defects are present there. And it can also lead to structural integrity issues of the manhole. So we'll spend some time here on what went well. The field coordination, like I highlighted earlier, it was excellent from the start to the finish. Jason really helped schedule everything as the project manager, was communicative. I think we've probably spoken every day since this project has started about this project, and that was a huge success. Eric White, very helpful with operations, always willing to help us out in the field, and also sending us files as well. And wanted to give a shout out to the rest of the team as well. Lucas, Byron, Dana, and the entire GIS team. Very, very responsive. Got us everything we needed almost immediately, and that led to the great success of this project. And the main other highlight I wanted to bring up, and Derek will spend some time talking about that, is that we had a real live GIS dashboard that had everything about the project present, and Derek will speak a little bit on that.
So the centerpiece is the dashboard that we developed for this project. It allowed our team and your all's team to keep up with what was going on in the field in near real time. You can see at the top here, it has all the various statistics. A lot of that's what Yagesh has spoken on so far. Then in the map itself, you can see all of the points where we found defects or issues within the wastewater system. And on the left-hand side are the associated pictures with those individual points. So having all of this in one place really allowed your team to refresh this and update and keep up with where our crews are at. And if anything came in that was a quick or easy fix, I'm fairly certain that you guys would jump on that immediately and go out and take care of it. This was developed in conjunction with you guys, so we had something that we came to the table with, and then we spent a lot of time working with the team here to enhance it and make it very useful for JWSC. So again, it was live. There was even one meeting that we were in, and at the beginning we notated how many feet were done, how many defects were found. 15, 20 minutes later, we hit refresh, and we were able to see that number increase. So it was pretty cool. As Yager said earlier, we logged the resident calls there, so that if there were any questions, any concerns, you guys were easily able to access that and get all the information. The field-driven expansion, we added 7 additional areas, as Yager said, when that was at the direction of you guys in areas that you wanted to have the smoke testing done based on what you were seeing out in the field. And then we were able to really make this a true turnkey program to where everything was housed within this dashboard. So some challenges that we faced, the single point of contact, or single point of coordination. So Jason served as our point of contact for everything, which worked out wonderfully. But at times it added extra steps that Jason had to take versus us being able to reach out to operations directly, but understand why that is the case. Our public outreach, we fielded a few more calls than what we were anticipating, but that's kind of to be expected for what the residents of in this area. Standing at the dashboard, one thing that we really wish we had done differently is starting that before we actually got going with any field efforts. Again, it proved to be the pulse of the project, and we didn't get it fully developed until probably a month into working. So we think that if we had that from the onset, it would have been a little bit more beneficial. And then regional events, the wildfire that took place was disruptive to what we were doing, but understandably. So it was just a cue to us that we need to make sure that we're being aware of what's going on in the vicinity. And then a key takeaway for us as a firm, one thing that we have changed to our processing based on what we learned here. There was a resident that called in, had concerns about the smoke testing that was going to take place, which is not uncommon, but this individual was unable to leave. They were in an older home. They were just overly concerned with what was going on. So we were sympathetic to that and wanted to show appreciation to them. So what we did is we acquired a lateral plug. We went to their clean out, removed their clean out, and put the plug in place for the duration of the test. So that ensured that the smoke would not come into the house. So we were able to give that resident reassurance, make them feel very comfortable with what was going on, and we communicated with them throughout this process. So as a firm moving forward, we're supplying one of these plugs on every one of our smoke testing crews so that when this does happen in the future, we're able to respond the same way. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Yash.
So I have a few more slides before we close it out. Some more pictures of us out in the field. The first one was from October, from what I remember, when we were in full swing. I'm sure you all already know, but before we even went out and did any smoke testing, we had a very rigorous public engagement protocol we developed with JWSC. The first part of that was door hangers, and we had it both in Spanish and English. Went ahead, posted that, had frequently asked questions. Why are you doing this? Is the smoke bad for my pets? These typical questions you would expect from the residents. So we did that initially, and on top of that, every week, so every Friday, every Monday, and also every day of the week, I would send out emails with maps to important stakeholders, so the fire department, the police department, GDOT, City of Brunswick, and also, of course, stakeholders from here. And I would point out the maps we were going to be working in case they got a call saying, hey, I have smoke here, so they could relate to the residents. No need to panic, it's this McKimmon Creed doing smoke testing. So very rigorous protocol. We also worked with Byron on various social media posts as well, just to keep the residents aware. And I think that was another key success for us, and something we'll continue to do for future projects. So the last few slides we'll talk about kind of the return of investment and what we found in terms of costs and money. So the total volume we identified was about 6.4 million gallons of inflow identified across all located defects. And we assumed a rate to treat wastewater of about $8.22 per 1,000 gallons of wastewater treated. And this is based on math of an estimated 1-inch rainfall. So a 2-inch rainfall would be double, 3-inch rainfall would be triple, and so on and so forth. So the average cost to treat an inch of rainfall event with inflow would be about $52,700, $791 or so. So what does that lead when you ultimately look at the math holistically? So the program cost for us was approximately $500,000. It was $496 and change, but for easy math, I rounded it up just a little bit. So that yielded about 45 cents per linear foot of smoke testing, and Brunswick averages an average of about 50 inches of rainfall. So if you look at that number and use the treatment cost I showed in the earlier slide, it's about $2.64 million per year. And for the 948 defects that we identified, we estimated a cost of about $2.37 million. So the payback or return of interest, the key thing to focus on for this slide is if you have a goal of reducing your I&I by 70%, it would be a 2-year return of investment. So a good number for y'all. And this helps offset other costs as well. So the more I&I you don't have to treat, that will lead you to save money for other important repairs throughout your water and sewer infrastructure, new revenue as well. And for utility the size of JWSC, we repeat either a holistic thing like y'all did here every 3 to 5 years, or if there are targeted areas, do that and focus on smaller chunks as well. So, last few slides, recommendations for the next go around. Shorter inspection cycle, 5-year helps you identify larger chunks like we did, but if you split up the system and look at it maybe every other year or something a little different than every 5-year, it would catch issues earlier. So something for y'all to think about. Since this is a coastal area, we also recommend doing manhole condition and salinity testing. That will help flag, tidal intrusions in your system. Again, similarly, since this is a coastal kind of area, we also recommend doing periodic easement and right-of-way review. If you have someone go out there and just look at those areas, it can help you keep access there, clear things, and keep your assets visible, which is the most important part. And then the last one, as Derek mentioned, the dashboard was great, but it would be great if we could, have a pre-meeting, figure out what y'all want to see in the dashboard. That way we can have everything set up for you right at the start of the project. So the main success, as I said, apart from the great collaboration with JWSC, was our field folks. I know many people here developed good relationships with them. Bill and Patrick were kind of the main two people here, boots on the ground, so wanted to highlight them. But we also had KJ and Elijah, and then we had behind the scenes me, Derek, and Craig. But also on the team that maybe y'all didn't have the opportunity to meet, but were critical in setting up the GIS, or some of the folks I highlighted, like Robbie, Will, and so on. So it may seem like, this field folks and us, but we had a very large group working on this project to make sure it was very successful for you all. The last piece is the final report. So we submitted that last week, closing out the project, with this being the kind of final closeouts. We submitted the report in June, and again, as we've mentioned, within schedule. So that's all within JWSC's hand. We also submitted all relevant videos, CCTV files, Excel sheets, the whole 9 yards. I think there was a total of 12 appendices, so a lot to comb through on your spare time. Here's Bill out in the field. It's just one more picture. And the final report delivery, we didn't just submit it. So we came out here last month, me and Derek and Craig, showed the preliminary draft report to y'all, got some feedback, incorporated that feedback, and then the final submittal was, as I said, done the last week of June. And with that, my favorite picture of the project's coming up. So again, just wanted to thank y'all for making this a very successful project. I will miss working on this project, but I'm sure there'll be many more opportunities.
Very good presentation.
Thank you.
We'll probably have a few questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did we have more defects in the Brunswick area than the Island area than St. Simons?
It was mostly in the Brunswick area. It was it was mostly in the Brunswick area, and in the report we have a map of where everything is as well. But it was mostly on the Brunswick side.
And have our crews looked at these maps?
Yes, yeah, we're actively going through correcting issues. We've already corrected 250 or 300 of them since it was live data. We were able to get out before they gave us the actual report. So we've been working on it since last November. As soon as they first started finding defects, we started correcting them.
And we have smoke testing capabilities ourselves.
We can do small smoke testing, yes, sir.
What did we learn from what they did?
Well, I mean, I think we did well, like they mentioned, with the communication side of things. Also think some of the areas that we were looking at, perhaps we should have looked at quicker based off of run times from pump stations and things like that. So we need to be a little more proactive about going after these I&I situations. We had seen one of them was a cross connection that we found, storm drain coming in. That would have been, it was easy for them to find. It would have been straightforward for us to find if we would have put forth the effort to go after that. So we need to be a little bit more proactive, but I think it's been a very successful project, and we've got a lot of work to do, but it's a task that the crew has taken on, and they're doing well knocking it out.
How many dye tests did y'all run?
We ran a total of
51.
51. Yep.
Did we find something in each one of them?
Not all of them were positive, but the majority of them were.
Yes.
That's on the dashboard too.
Yep. Dashboard and report.
Jason, what do you have to say? What did you learn on it?
So my project area is within the right of way and then behind the fence. So I know that there was days where they were chased by dogs, and then towards the end they actually got bear spray.
Bear spray for the dogs?
Yeah. No, but the note about maintaining our easements and right-of-way, not necessarily right-of-ways, that's obviously Glynn County and the city of Brunswick, we're maintaining our easements better. Some of these pictures that we can go through the dashboard and pull them up at a later date, where if you had not smoke tested, you would not have realized there was a manhole back there because of how overgrown it was.
So we located some manholes we didn't know we had.
Well, they were on the map, but I don't think anybody had seen them in a few decades.
Should we start something where we look in each manhole once a year?
I mean, that would be ideal. It's a tall task, but that would be ideal.
Hey, what'd you learn? You're smiling.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes back to access. If we can maintain the easements and
Yeah.
access, that can solve issues.
I do want to chime in with one thing, and I've expressed this a couple of times, but the fact that you guys are so proactively going out and fixing these issues is very rewarding to our team. We're very appreciative of that. It's wonderful to see it come full circle. There's nothing that we despise more than going out and doing this work and it sits on a shelf. So Andrew, thank you for having your team. You guys provided these guys.
Yeah, I spent way too much time looking at the dashboard while they were doing it, and when a critical one would pop up, I would call and say, hey, this just popped up, go fix it immediately.
And God bless you for talking to 65.
Dream.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Presentation, nice report. We've enjoyed working with you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Hey, Jason, don't go away.
We were going to recognize him at the August meeting. You can do it now, yeah.
Jason, he's been active in GAWP, and when you see him there, he's all dressed up. He's kind of cruddy looking right now, but he's all dressed up, and he wears fancy shoes and all this stuff. But when I first got there, and I got there a little late, I just his picture's in the doggone magazine. And he received the Alva T. Story Award. Yeah, I think we're gonna make the presentation later.
We're gonna recognize you at the full commission in August. Yeah.
The sequin jacket, Jason.
Jason does not know Alva's story, but he was a lab analyst for Cobb County for many, many years. I think it's Cobb County. And he was very instrumental in starting the Georgia Association of Water Professionals, which was GWPCA back then, Georgia Water and Pollution Control Association. So it's a real an honor for you to be awarded that. I just want to tell our committee that so they would just understand when you get presented that. Stalwarts of the water and sewer business in the state of Georgia. We'll move to the approval section of the minutes of the meeting. Minutes from the June 17, 2026 Facilities Committee meeting. I have a motion to adopt, accept.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Motion carries 3-0. Second item is contract award, Phase 2 Services, Academy Creek, WPCF, Clarifier Rehab. Mr. Burrs.
Yes, sir. So as y'all are aware, we awarded a contract to BRW Construction for a design. Hang on, the link's not showing up correctly. It worked the other day. All right. Yeah, great. I don't remember the exact numbers. Sorry. Phase 2 services for this contract have been brought forth today by BRW. We, at the April meeting, we awarded a contract to Evoqua Water Technologies and Nefco Systems for the actual mechanisms, launders, weirs, and everything like that. This is for the installation contract to install all of that equipment. The price for the Phase 2 services is $4,654,807. This includes, again, the cost to install all the JWC purchased components. This is recoating all of the clarifier concrete after the existing mechanisms have been removed, and replacing the grout cap in clarifier 2, and we'll be putting new electric services, new panels, and improving the lighting at all 6 of the clarifiers. And clarifiers 3 and 4 are a different build of clarifier than the other 2, and there's a concrete shelf in there. We'll be removing that concrete shelf and installing new fiberglass density baffles. I will note there is a asterisk on the clarifier components line item cost there, because as we were going through this, with the design build, this project has been a tremendous benefit doing design build. Hang on, I got it. We got to open it up in the old Adobe. And so we were able to get pricing from the contractor, BRW, to see exactly what things were going to cost. And so the first cut of this, the original construction cost was over $6 million. And so we were able to take things out that would have been nice to have, but not essential. And so with a traditional hard bid project, we would not have known the individual cost of those things. It would have been much harder to get that information out. The asterisk on the clarifier components part, one of the things that we looked at when we submitted the purchase order, we were going to put in 1-foot fiberglass plating around the clarifiers to make sure there was sufficient freeboard, because we're going to raise the clarifier mechanisms up 11 inches. At that time, we thought that was going to be necessary. Well, when we got through and got the Phase 2 proposal and started looking at it, Carter and Sloot reran the numbers. Those are not going to be necessary. So that number that you see, that 3.608, is actually a lower amount than what was awarded, because that portion of that contract has been removed. So the total cost for all both phases and the equipment purchase is $8.5 million. This is over budget by $1.5 million, and that $1.5 million will come from uncommitted funds in the R&R reserve. We do recommend moving forward with BRW Construction for this Phase 2 contract. We have ordered the materials. We're looking at probably first of the year before they show up, though, so be a while before we start actually turning much of this money over. BRW will be getting in advance and demoing the first clarifier out of the way before materials show up, but other than that, be limited work ongoing for the next 3 to 4 months on this contract.
Motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move the Facilities Committee recommend awarding the contract for Phase 2 services for the Academy Creek waste treatment clarifier rehabilitation to BRW Construction LLC in the amount of $4,654,807.
I'll second.
Look at the cost proposal here. Anything that's got the NA across, those were items that were originally in BRW's contract that we removed as part of the design build. So we decided to purchase ourselves to avoid the markup from BRW on the equipment, but we also took out new gate actuators for the 6 clarifier gates, and then installing some effluent gates to prevent flow backwards when we shut a clarifier off, and also removing the handrails and installing the FRP extension plates. So all of that got removed. So this is a very successful way of going about this project to remove a pretty substantial amount of money by just getting the cost from the contractor as we're going along.
At any time?
No, not going to add any time.
I got a couple of questions. The concrete that they're removing,
Yes.
we looked at the original as-built plans to see if any of that has any structural effect on the ring
Carter and
tension.
Sloop has reviewed and said they are not structural.
Now we don't have to put those, there were 4 or 5 clarifiers to raise the clarifier, the level of the clarifiers. We were going to have to do something to prevent wave action from washing out.
Right, so we're not going to have to do that. Part of the reason we're able to do that is currently we have dual-sided launders and weirs. We're moving everything to the outside, so there's actually a gap, so it should not be a problem moving forward. It'll be all external launders.
But we're still going to be able to raise the clarifier level.
They'll still be able to raise the clarifiers about 11 inches, which will help out with the hydraulics going through the filters on the back side of the plant. Currently, we can only get, with both filters online, about 22 million gallons through the plant. With the raising of the clarifiers, we should be able to pass the full peak flow design of 27 million gallons through the filters.
How comfortable are we that we're going to have equal flow to all the clarifiers?
Very comfortable that they'll be equal once the project is complete. However, we're doing these one at a time, and so the flow splitting problem is going to get worse as they're working on it until they get done with it.
Once it's done, how you going to?
After it's done, we're gonna take and put in level indicators on the actual clarifiers themselves and make sure that they're within tolerance. But obviously, with the hydraulics being corrected through the clarifiers, it should handle itself at that point. But we'll be able to monitor it from that way. But as you can imagine, if you raise one portion of the plant 11 inches and the other 5 are still down here, we're going to have some flow split challenges in the short term. But we're prepared to take those challenges on.
How long do they have to complete their work?
I believe they said a year to get this done, 2 months per clarifier once the materials arrive.
How long is it going to take for the clarifiers to get here then?
First of the year before materials are delivered. A year once they're here, so you're looking at end of 2027 before they're done. Because we can only take one down at a time. If we could do more than one at a time, it would be shorter, but because of the peak flow issues that we have, we can only take one down at a time.
You anticipate the contractor being here on site full time after we get the first clarifier mechanism?
Pretty much full time, yes, sir. Other than he may not demobilize fully, but he may pull his crews out while they're just having the subcontractor spray the concrete. Because that's a 2 to 3 week process to get that coated for every one of them.
What are we coating it with?
We're going to do a high build epoxy.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Raise your right hand. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Andrew. Next item is memorandum of understanding, county JWSC infrastructure coordination.
Yes, sir. And we have Mr. Dormany here with us, who is the expert on this agreement. But what this does is establish a framework between Glynn County and Joint Water and Sewer where basically it documents the way we're currently coordinating projects, where Glynn County, if they're doing a intersection improvement or roadway project and we want to co-locate a project at the same time to limit disruption to the community, we request, and as long as there's not a significant change in the boundaries or time frame required for the county project, they accommodate, where if we request improvements, we can pay the county. The county provides inspection services, project management, bidding, all of those type things through the project. This agreement will actually, in lieu of them paying capital fees going forward, it would just be services in kind for their infrastructure coordination projects. So what this agreement does, we'll have an agreement, an IGA for future projects as they come in here for each one for the value of them, but the county would no longer pay capital fees for their new buildings because they provide the services on these joint projects with us. And it's about 6 pages that says that. This is a 10-year agreement, and then we can renew upon the completion of that, should this continue to be in the best interest of both parties.
So we're just waiving their tap fees.
We waive their tap fees as a result of this agreement, and it documents how we do our projects together.
Pay them for putting in there.
Yes and no. If it is strictly a relocation that is required due to the improvements they're doing, it is at the county's cost to relocate those assets. If we request a change to the project for increasing pipe size or rerouting to our benefit, we pay for those improvements.
Does this include a new roundabout?
Yes. Well, there'll be an IGA for that. But yes, this is the type of stuff that would absolutely do. So if the county's going to do the intersection at Frederica and Sea Island, we need to get in there and change the way we're doing our piping through there. If we want to upsize those lines while we're doing that, we would pay for the upsizing. But the county would provide the project management, the inspection, and all of those things as a part of what their normal contract.
Did we get a motion? I don't think.
We didn't get a motion.
Chairman, I move that the Facilities Committee forward the memorandum of understanding with Glynn County regarding infrastructure coordination to the full commission with recommendation to approve and authorize the chairman to execute.
Next item is sewer materials bulk purchase pump stations 2001, 2002, 2033, and 2034. Mr. Burris.
Yes, sir. We have 2 funded capital projects. You may recall we did electrical upgrades on these 4 stations last year. And what we decided to do on these projects to try to combat rapidly increasing construction cost is to act as our own general contractor and purchase materials and hire subcontractors to install those materials. We did this through the electrical portion. It was very successful. And so the remaining scope on these projects are to replace the check and plug valves on all the pumps and the discharge piping. And there'll be one additional item that needs to be purchased for safety grading at a later date. But what this does is to buy those materials, again, check valves and all the necessary piping and modifications and things like that. We got quotes from 4 providers. Total cost for all the materials is $57,522.05. I will bring your attention to the table in the middle here. We spent a total of $370,000 on the electrical for 4 pump stations to completely redo the electrical this way versus $400,000 to $500,000 per pump station when we have been bidding them out as a single project. So this has been very successful, and we are very much looking forward to continuing this process on future projects. There will be another contract likely coming to you at the August meeting for a mechanical contractor to install all these valves and piping improvements once we get them here. But the recommendation is to purchase this material from Fort-Align Waterworks. And you'll note we have very good pricing on this because all four of them are very close on the dollar values. So Fort-Align did a good job getting their pencil sharp on this one, so happy to move forward with this contract.
Who prepared the bid form and the takeoff? Who did that?
David Grantham and his team. He did the takeoff. Miss Pam's team did the actual bid form. She's a little more administratively gifted than Mr. Grantham is.
If we need more of an item, will we just have to pay this price?
Well, no, sir. We'd had to get a quote from Fort-Align at that time.
So these prices aren't held.
They're not held, no, sir. This is just for the quote as submitted.
Can I have a motion?
Chairman, I move that we, the Facilities Committee, recommend purchasing the attached list of sewer materials to support capital projects for Station 2001, 2002, 2033, and 2034 from Fort-Align Waterworks in the amount of $57,522.05.
Second.
There's 3-0. Thank you, Andrew. Next item is dedication of infrastructure and our easements. Mr. Patel.
Yes, so Mr. Klein is on vacation, so we have tapped in Mr. Patel to go through the infrastructure dedication and easements for you. So I'm sure most of you know this, but Harry Patel is our assistant engineer. Glad to have him with us today to go through these projects.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. Yeah, Todd sandbagged last month, so I got 6 to present today. Let's see. The first one is Carriage Gate, the amenity center. So this is located off of Harriet Riggers. The existing infrastructure within Carriage Gate is publicly owned and maintained by us. The scope of this one is just an 8-inch water main extension, approximately 140 feet, and a fire hydrant for dedication. The second one is Moss Point subdivision. Familiar with the island, it's adjacent to the Waffle House, I believe. Yep.
We're on that Pocket Village Creek.
The second one, Moss Point. So this is an 11-lot subdivision. The water is being dedicated to joint water and sewer, approximately 385 linear feet. The sewer consists of a private gravity system with a private pump station. Just the force main, which is approximately 50 linear feet in the Demery Road right away, will be dedicated to joint water and sewer.
And if you recall, we changed it to where future projects cannot do public water and private sewer, but this predated that change in the standards for submission.
Size is force main.
2-inch. It's connected to an existing 2-inch force main.
How many houses is it serving?
11.
What kind of pump station they put in?
I'm not sure. I'm sure it's a fairly small pump station in there, but you know what they put into? Is it a grinder or is it a?
It's going to be maintained by the developer. But it is a community lift station.
A small centrifugal.
They still have to meet our standards.
They have to meet our standards, yes, sir. Typically, like I talked about when we changed the standards, typically what they are not able to meet for these private systems are the 50 by 50 lot, the SCADA, and the three-phase power.
So this might not have three-phase power, but it's
This one doesn't have any of those three, I'm almost guaranteed.
going to have two pumps.
Yes, it's going to have 2 pumps, yes, sir.
We don't maintain it.
No, sir.
Is this a gated community?
I believe it will be.
All the
One thing,
customers.
that first unit is in your face when you're riding down the road.
The third one is Park at Village Creek. This is located off of South Harrington. This extension or dedication only serves 3 lots, but it is part of a larger extension of the original Park at Village Creek subdivision. We are publicly owned and maintained. This is off of South Harrington, which is Conservation Way, which is, like I said, infrastructure is maintained by us. And then Isadora Lane is the 3 lots that serve just north of it.
This is a park at Village Creek you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Find that in my drawings.
Hang on, I'll get there. It should be called, it might be called Isadora Lane on the actual drawings.
Isadora Lane is just an extension to the
Right.
existing Park at Village Creek.
Right.
Once again, it's a 2-inch force main and 140 linear feet of 2-inch water main.
We don't have a pump station, are these grinder lines?
These are individual grinders.
It couldn't be served with gravity?
Part of it is, and then they ran out of fall, and then there's a few homes on the backside that's just low pressure. Number 4 is West Point Phase 5, north end of the island. Phase 5 consists of 17 lots, which will connect to an existing phase of infrastructure that is owned by Joint Water and Sewer. 5 consists of 1,163 linear feet of 8-inch water main and approximately 10,000 feet of 8-inch gravity main.
Does this complete everything in West Point?
I believe we've got one more phase they're going to develop, I believe. To now, all the construction till 5 is complete, but we haven't seen anything new.
Did we have something about the pump station there? Did we upgrade that pump station, or did they upgrade it or something about a year ago or 2 years?
Ownership of
It was an ownership of the pump station. We got that taken care of.
Figured out, tapped
Yeah,
before.
yeah. We got ownership of the pump station, and we did some improvements to the fencing up there that met with the overall look and feel of the community as a portion of that, and so we did all that, yes, sir.
Number 5 is an older project. It's a Southern Retreat RV Park. This is off of exit 29. And it's just, we were waiting on some asset dedication forms from the applicant, which we received last month to close the loop on this project. It's approximately 475 feet of 6-inch water main that connects to an existing 4-inch meter that's out there. So that's pretty much to clean up the ownership and maintenance of that asset to the meter. And approximately 388 feet of gravity main that serves.
These are RVs.
Yes, sir.
RVs.
Approximately 180.
Each one's metered?
No, sir.
No, sir. It's a master meter on a 4-inch.
Just one
Master metered, and we're taking the water main to the meter and the sewer main once it leaves their property and goes across the GDOT ditch into the back of the pump station. Or county ditch. At one point we thought it was GDOT, but it's a county ditch. But nevertheless, everything inside the property line is theirs.
So what we're getting is the stuff outside their property line.
Yes, sir.
Which is about, what, 55 foot of 8-inch?
It ain't a whole lot, no, sir.
Yeah, pretty much just the one leg of sewer to the manhole, and then water's going down the GR right-of-way ditch to the meter that's located. Number 6 is a phase of lakes at North Glen. This is off of Perry Riggers. This phase consists of approximately 75 to 76 single-family residential lots, about 2,300 linear feet of 8-inch water main. The sewer is private. The dedication just consists of the water main.
Yeah.
Private sewer again, is because they put in a smaller pump somewhere. Look, I do believe we're gonna inherit some stuff over time. There's too many of them, and the economy is too fragile.
I will say that with the changes that we've made since we put them in place, the people that have been coming to us, they are following the new rules. They're moving forward. So glad we got that taken care of for, maybe not for these projects, but for future projects.
Questions on this? Can I have a motion?
Chairman, I move the Facilities Committee recommend to the full commission accept this infrastructure with associated easements as applicable.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Motion carries 3-0. Good report, Harry. Next item, we'll move to the discussion section, the water production report. Mr. Burris.
Yes, sir. So the month of June, average flow through the whole system was produced 8.76 million, metered 8.12 million. That's 7.3% unaccounted for the month. Almost got to 31,200 AMI readings for the month, so we were above the 98.5% contracted value. So good to see that. Some of those, we've been piloting some higher gain antennas that have been successful. So thankful for working with Neptune on these issues as we move forward. If we look at the next sheet for our Brunswick system, you'll note some numbers that look very much smaller than they did in the past. The Golden Isles 1 well, we had a motor issue at that, so it only ran the last week or so of the month, so that's why that number is significantly lower. But other than that, everything is within normal range. System operating pretty successfully throughout Brunswick. Trying to get a few more of them balanced. The Ridgewood well and the Canal Road well are doing well, but we need Golden Isles 1 and 2 to be running more than they are, so we're working on some of those things. The SCADA project that we've undertaken will help in some of those areas, but daily production for the month on the Brunswick system, 5.1 million gallons, 6.9% unaccounted for. Did have 5 taste and odor complaints. Most of those were dirty water complaints that upon flushing did clear up. Pretty consistent year to year. It's one of the things that you hear about. We just got back from JWP, you hear about at conferences all the time. People continue to see growth, but they don't see a tremendous increase in actual usage because newer homes use less water than older homes do. So, St. Simon's Island for the month, 3.3 million gallons produced, 2.9 meter to 8.27% unaccounted for the month, but the system balanced pretty well across 3 of the 4 wells, and then the Hampton well at the north end is typically going to have less water usage than the others just because of densities. But all things considered, system operating smoothly on St. Simon's Island for the month. So a little bit tracking slightly ahead of where we were this time last year. Pretty consistently, same sort of gap in there. Most of the growth that we've seen in water usage on St. Simon's is due to people purchasing irrigation meters and are now irrigating off of our system in lieu of having private irrigation wells. South Mainland for the month, you'll note the major thing, the unaccounted for water number went back to normal ranges because we did not have a significant flushing event that occurred on the south end this month. We did some flushing, but not to the extent that we had to do the previous month. So Fancy Bluff, a little bit lower usage. Brookman took care of most of it for the month, but 364,000 gallons a day on the south end. So good to see the south end getting back to normal after having to deal with some dirty water complaints and a lot of flushing on the previous month. So obvious the gap there where we had to do all the flushing, but other than that, the south end is very consistent on its water usage.
Okay, wastewater.
All right. As we mentioned a few months ago, we were throwing the word drought around. And I know a lot of people have been praying for rain. My request is that we stop praying for rain because it has been wet for the last 6 weeks or so. So Academy Creek for the month up to 9.6 million gallons a day with the I&I getting in the system. Quite a big jump over the 2.4 million over the previous month and 4.1 million over 2 months ago. So you see there, though, the main takeaway, if you scroll across to the effluent concentrations, you see that ammonia number is 0.8, which is below 1, which was the permit limit that we've been trying to get to for almost 2 years now. So congratulations to the team for getting that in where it needs to be. Everything else across the board looking well at Academy Creek. We did do in the month of May, not the month of June. In the month of May, we did an alkalinity boosting trial, and with that was stopped in June. You do see a reduction in the alkalinity there to 83 on the average on the discharge. However, that does not seem to be limiting our ability to nitrify right now. So we're holding off on that because one of the things with the alkalinity addition was, if you look to the far right on the sludge tons, sludge is about a month behind everything else because it sits in the digesters. We had to process a whole lot more sludge because adding additional chemicals for alkalinity generates more sludge that has to be dealt with. So hopefully those numbers will return closer to normal before next month without that alkalinity addition. But congratulations to our wastewater team at Academy Creek for their accomplishments, getting it below 1 for the month of June. But you can certainly see that the rain has returned with the uptick in the flow rate at Academy Creek. I think our highest day was around 14, which is not too bad, but we had some hourly readings in the 20s. So we had some very heavy downpours in short periods of time. Dunbar Creek for the month, 3.9 million, just squeaked it under the current limit of 4 coming in. You see the reduction in the influent concentrations as a result of the I&I increase, but the plant handled it very successfully. Still got 97% BOD removal and 98% TSS removal, even with slightly lower influent numbers. So Dunbar Creek staff doing a very good job maintaining compliance over at Dunbar Creek as we're going through. You may be aware, as I mentioned, we did have a line collapse at Dunbar Creek, and so that influent station is currently on bypass. That is being corrected as we speak. Hopefully we'll be off a bypass no later than into next week, but we hopefully will also see a reduction in I&I from that. That line that collapsed has obviously been draining a lot of water because that line is 12 to 15 foot deep, and they did not have to de-water until they got to the pipe. So it had been draining an awful lot of groundwater through that pipe. So hopefully getting a new pipe in there will actually cut out a lot of the I&I that's been getting in there. As Mr. Fields can testify, you don't dig 12 to 15 foot on St. Simon's Island without dewatering. You don't do that anywhere in Glynn County, but you certainly don't do that on St. Simon's Island. So
Very rare.
Very, very rare. So, but our trends do follow the rainfall, so glad that we got the smoke testing results out of the way. We're making progress on some of these, and I have we've started prioritizing basins based off of run times at the pump stations as we're going through, so they're going through those basin by basin on the rehab for the smoke testing. And then Southport for the month, just shy of 500,000 gallons a day going through Southport for the month. Plant handled very successfully, 98% BOD and TSS removal for the month, everything well within compliance. And moving along there, as you see, a little over 9 inches of rain for the month, so our previous 6 months prior to May and June had been dwarfed by the last 2 months of rain combined. So, but you'll note, despite the fact that the flow did go up, the flow is lower on the no, go back down, sorry. Go back down the graph. You'll note that that line for this year is lower even though it rained. That's because, if you recall, last year we were having calibration issues on the effluent meter at Southport, so those numbers are more correct this year than they were last year. So, great job by our wastewater team, doing well with the rain event, maintaining everything, and then keeping everything within compliance, particularly the ammonia at Academy Creek. Fantastic news.
What's the status of the permit increase at Dunbar?
We have submitted the documentation for the environmental impact document, and the last note we got was it was received by EPD, but we haven't heard anything back, so.
Good report. Now we can see the pictures.
Yes, sir. And Harry is going to fill in for Mr. Klein on the picture report as well.
In your package, so there'll be the construction project photos with the first project being outlined as the Exit 42 elevated storage tank. As you can see the pictures there, we are actively working on the electrical and the shaft work within the tank itself. Site restoration and access to the site is next in line with the bowl, the making of the bowl as well. There's also, based on that first picture you see there, a lot of construction going on in and around the project site as well. The second phase of the warehouse project has started as well, and also we have I-95 force main project that'll come through this corridor as well.
Is all that water within our property lines?
Yes.
How do we get rid of that?
They're supposed to, if you look at the second picture there, they're supposed to bring in a good bit of fill to where the door is going to be at, and then they're going to reroute a ditch to the I-95 main ditch on the front and the back side of the property.
So all of that water is going to be filled in.
Yeah, we'll have like a little swell on the front side of that picture, and then on the back side going towards the interstate ditch.
So it looks like it's just it looks like it's stuck in there and can't get out to maybe the ditch that's alongside the interstate.
Yes, sir.
That's what's currently happening, but the final grading will handle
We'll
that.
slope everything towards the I-95 ditch. Third and fourth pictures, once again, it's just an overview, and it shows.
You got a paved road into it now.
Yes, sir. If you recall on this project, we rerouted the entrance to match with the new public right-of-way at the Amazon building so that we didn't have to put our own roadway in.
Access road there, don't we?
Yes, sir.
That's the best access road we've got for a elevated storage tank.
Museum for the trade port, I guess. That's good.
The second project is Splost Exit 29, Division 1 water production facility. From the pictures there, the interior, the piping and connection to the existing main has been made, and they're working on setting the vaults for the ground storage tank. And the piping for that.
That's the vault there that's being put in.
Yes, so right next to
Right by the gate.
No, by the gates where they're making the
the tie into the existing.
tie into the existing water system.
The two vaults are located pretty much between the ground storage tank and the maintenance building.
Where's our well on the site?
As
Back?
Back between the ground storage tank and the maintenance building. If you look on that top picture, the well is in between the ground storage building and the maintenance building, the ground storage tank and the maintenance building.
There's a better picture of it on the next
Yeah,
page.
better picture on the next page.
far is it from those apartments?
The well or the
Well,
150 feet maybe? From the actual doors, from the backyards, 100 feet maybe?
They're in the parking lot.
Yeah, exactly.
okay.
Electrical installation and installing of the pumps and all that's going on in the maintenance building as well.
We're not operating that yet.
No, sir.
Third project is the Division 2, which is the 500,000 gallon elevated storage tank just south of where the well and the maintenance building is. They're working on the interior of it, interior painting of the bowl, and side restoration, and also the access to the site.
That says Glynn County on one side, we're still on the other side.
It's got our logo on the other side.
Which says Glynn County, coming into town,
Coming into town, yes, sir. From the south.
I was going out.
Yes, sir.
What's the slope on that roof? Climbed up there yet? Anybody climbed up there yet?
No one that is covered by joint water and sewer workers' compensation insurance has climbed up there yet. Thank you, attorney.
Is our inspector going to climb up there?
Our Thomas and Hutton's inspector will climb up there. Or Mr. Chapman will when he gets here.
Pretty easy. Just go inside. Have you ever done that, Mike?
Yes, sir. I climbed Cape Road many times.
The next project is a joint project between the city and Jones Water and Sewer, the Howard Coffin Park pipe relocation. As part of their storm drain project, we have incorporated some water main and sewer main relocations. The water main relocations are done in-house by Derek and Alvin's crews at Water Distribution. They've already made the crossing for the 12-inch water main and connected it to the existing. We are to build a 12-inch header just on site of the property to make that loop to abandon a few more crossings on that tidal ditch. For the sewer, there's a 6-inch force main that crosses that ditch, and we're looking for pricing to get that relocated.
We're going to keep that road across the creek? Right there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There before?
Yes, sir.
That aerial from our drone, that's a nice picture.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's a total of 3 water crossings and 1 sewer crossing, and we're trying to eliminate all 3 and make 1 big crossing for the water. The next project is the Academy Creek Clarifier Rehab Progress Project.
Yes, sir. So as we talked about, we recommended awarding the contract to BRW today. They've inspected the clarifiers, and so we're just waiting on submittal, going through submittal approval, and then we'll be waiting to get defined ship date. So again, we'll take clarifier number 2 down. So in that first picture, it's the one on the bottom left. Will be the first one that comes down. That'll be and then we'll do the one just above that, number 1, and then we'll move to number 3 in the back right, and then work our way down that side. So we'll be tearing all the internals out of number 2, recoding and doing all that, and then hopefully timing that exactly so when things show up, they can start installing. But looking forward to it. We're doing well at Academy, but we're operating on very narrow margins because the clarifiers are still challenging for us. So getting those clarifiers corrected will really give us more control over what's going on at the plant. But if you looked at pictures of Academy before and you look at the clarifiers now, go back and compare that, the plant looks considerably better from a visual perspective than it did just 6 months ago. So.
We pulled all the stuff out of the aeration basins. Was there a lot of grit in there, or what was in there mostly?
In the aeration basins, it was almost all grit. There was some rags, but it was almost all grit. Yes, understood. Well, what we've done, the current grit system, what we've determined is when both grit pumps are trying to run, one of them is deadheading and causing it to lose prime. So Mr. Grantham's team has installed timers so they won't run at the same time, which has seemed to help not allowing them not to lose prime.
That's here, but what about at Dunbar?
Oh, yeah, at the other plant, certainly, grit systems are a little bit of a, as you know, difficult situation to size for first flush events after major rain events versus normal conditions, so certainly something we could take a look at. Yes, sir. Saw a presentation this week where a gentleman said his grit system works fine as long as it's not raining, and then he can't keep up.
A few of the projects that's not on the list that we're working on, we're actively working with Glynn County on the Gateway Improvements Project, which will come up here shortly, and then also the Sea Island Roundabout Project, which we'll have engineering design on.
The water production SCADA and electrical improvements on St. Simon's Island for those contractors in town this week performing grounding testing to confirm the grounding loops at each of the sites. And so they'll be making recommendations for improvements on that. We're getting closer to being able to bring a phase 2 contract on that project. Hopefully before Labor Day, we'll get that. So maybe September's meeting before we get that to you, but we should be getting those numbers in the next month or so on what that final cost is going to be. And the kickoff meeting is scheduled for the 4119 and 3103 project on August the 5th. So moving along on that project as well.
A couple of in-house engineering design projects that we're
Yep.
close to wrapping up the engineering.
Yeah, a couple of engineering.
The splost water and sewer extensions, the one on Whitlock Street. We got comments back from distribution to make a few adjustments, so we're finalizing those. We have a couple easements to get for that one. The sewer's pretty much designed. And then pump station 3114, the access road is the one that's kind of holding out up a little bit, but we're moving forward with the design.
In the next meeting, Andrew, can you tell us how many people are tied on to the sewers that we put in? Can you-
Sure, we can have those. I know the ARCO grant's around 35 that's been connected.
Yeah, I think we passed 40.
Oh, okay. Past 40, okay. That
Out of how many potential?
I think 50 signed up.
50 has signed up so far in ARCO for the grant program. We have the funding to do 94 of them, I believe. So we've had 40-something that have tied on thus far. There's about 400 lots out there. So we're over 50 because we had some people that had tied on prior to the funding becoming available. So we're moving on
90 when we tied on,
with the grant. Yes, sir.
plus the 50?
No, the 50 is part of that 90.
That's right.
That's out of
Yes, sir. Somewhere in that ballpark right now, yes, sir. That's what we're setting on.
400. And what about the Brunswick Village?
We've had a handful in Brunswick Villa. We have applied for the same funding. We haven't heard anything back yet. We've had a handful so far in Brunswick Villa, and we've had a couple out at Community Road, I believe,
Like I
already.
said, Brunswick Villa between 5 and 10 have connected, and then Community Road, that project will come to closing next month, hopefully. We have 3 connected. So.
Yeah. So we're starting to get people tying on to the system. One of the potential, we saw some plans the other day for a new building at the Community Road area, and so they obviously will be tying on as they're constructing their improvements.
Anything else?
Not at this time, sir.
So moved.
Second.
Return.